Hello, this is C.H.E.K and welcome to my video blog today. The question of the day is, do calorie counting devices work? Well, if you're in a hurry, you can save yourself a lot of time. Not very well. Let me give you an explanation. You'll see my little diagram here, which is a sort of a rough copy right out of my book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy. Chapter 13, Never Cut Calories. Go to page 210. And you'll see the picture of the girl walking the dog on the balance scale there, and it has all these things in it here, which is really important to our discussion. Hey, there's a lot of things in here that'll help you avoid a lot of fads, manipulation, and confusion out there. Complete system, easy to follow. Thousands and thousands of people have gotten healthy just by doing that, got off of medical drugs, lots of neat things. So, hey, I spent most of my career developing that for you, so you might as well get right to the brass tacks, baby. So, you got that there. Now, let's get into this question. Do calorie counting devices work? Well, first of all, what is a calorie? A calorie, unbeknownst to many, has nothing to do with nutrition, nutritional value, nutritional resources, or availability. A calorie is simply a measure of energy. A calorie, as we know it, is how much energy it takes to raise 1 gram of water 1 degree centigrade. So if it says an apple is 79 calories, it means there's enough energy in the apple to raise X number of grams of water, X number of degrees centigrade. So you can see that that doesn't tell you anything about what's in the apple, only what it would do if you put it into a device called a burn calorimeter, which incinerates everything to ash and measures how much energy is in there. So when people are making decisions on how much they should eat in calories based on what they did in a gym or how long their walk was, you can get into some really interesting and confusing situations that often cause more problems than good. Let's take a look at a few of those. Okay, one, we've got to look at what happens in your body. First of all, the biggest utilization of calories and therefore nutrients at large is going to be your resting metabolic rate. That means, what does it take to keep the lights on just so you can have a heartbeat, breathe, poop, and be alive? Just the basics to keep the lights on, like a car just sitting there idling. That's your resting metabolic rate. Your resting metabolic rate, as shown in my book, Eat, Move, and Be Healthy, this comes right from the research of a pretty famous nutritionist, John Berardi, consumes 50 to 70% of your daily calories. So just to be alive and breathe, and all those cells needing nutrition and energy and warmth, costs you 50 to 70% of what you consume. But again, remember, that does not tell you, for example, if someone has a fungal infection, they may need a lot more calories in food to get the nutrition to run their body because the fungus or the parasite is eating up all their nutrition. So you can have someone who's got a resting metabolic rate of a given amount, but they actually have to eat a lot more food in order to keep their body alive, because the fungus or the parasite in this example is extracting nutrition, so they're getting more and more energy, which has to come by way of the digestive, eliminative organs and the assimilation process working. So there's a lot of wear and tear that has to go on just to get those calories in that is not considered in just straight up calorie counting. Okay? To digest and eliminate your food can cost you 5 to 15% of your calories. Now, this can vary depending on the health of your digestive system. Someone with an unhealthy digestive system may use much more than that. For example, if someone has spastic colitis, they've got muscle activity going on in there constantly. I've had clients pooping 30 times or more a day. Then you got people who are completely sluggish inside. Calorie counters can't account for any of these things. So you must get 5 to 15% of your calories in just to run the digestive and eliminative machinery. 50 to 75 to run the machinery of metabolism. The calorie counters actually only function here. They're measuring daily activities which range from 100 to 1,000 calories, even in elite athletes. So if you take like a professional triathlete who's burning 6,800 calories a day, remember 50 to 70% of that is running as metabolism, 5 to 15% is running the digestive and eliminative system. If you eat that much calories, that's a lot of stuff to run through the system. Then you're getting down to what was actually used during the activity, which according to John Berardi and other experts often isn't much more than 1,000 calories, even someone who's working out a lot. Then you have an X factor, which is things like nervousness, rattling keys, shaking legs, spontaneous activity, and the X factor is variations in a person's metabolic efficiency that cannot be accounted for, and your metabolic efficiency can be very affected by your mental emotional state. So you can see that calorie counters are only operating right here, and they cannot take into consideration resting metabolic rate. And there's many, many factors that influence metabolic rate, resting metabolic rate, such as mercury toxicity, heavy metal toxicity, various types of poisonings, as I said, parasite functions. The list just goes on and on. Your digestion elimination ranges 5 to 15% of your calories, but there's a huge variation in your own capacity to run your own machinery based on your overall health and nutrient availability and stress levels. Then the X factor is completely unknown. It's an X factor. So you can see that we're dealing with a concept here that's potentially dangerous because people are restricting their dietary intake, and I've seen this over and over again, to what they did in the gym. So, for example, I have someone come in after working out in the gym and doing 30 minutes on a stepper and whatever and saying, oh, you know, I get to eat 315 calories for breakfast today. How'd you determine that? Oh, my calorie counter showed me. And they so proudly hold up their little band or whatever was on their leg or tell me that the machine told them that. Okay, well, 315 calories, that might cover what you just did on the stepper. But it doesn't cover what it costs you to digest and eliminate the food you're eating and need to keep eating. It doesn't cover anything to keep the lights on. So this is kind of like running a business and only calculating the expense of a product you send out the door. In other words, I make widgets and the widget costs me $5, but it doesn't calculate what it costs you to run the factory and what it costs you to, maintain the factory and the people in it. So you can easily go bankrupt doing that kind of accounting in a business, and people are going bankrupt using calorie counters because they're completely and utterly not aware of the fact that calories are only a measure of energy and have no nutritional component whatsoever. And even reading books that give nutritional values are still highly suspect because the nutrition value of food has radical differences relative to the calories of food depending on how it was grown, where it was grown, when it was grown, soil, microorganisms, the list just goes on and on. Okay, so if we go here, calorie counters are algorithms and use statistical analysis to predict consumption. So just like you have a body mass index, if you're this high and this age, you should have this body mass. Well, there's a huge range of deviation in there, and I've seen lots of problems with the body mass index. When I was the trainer of the Army boxing team, I used to work with all the other athletes that were special athletes in the Army, like elite athletes. And one of our guys was a Cobra helicopter pilot who was on the Army powerlifting team. This guy was something along the lines of 275 pounds at 4% body fat. But because he had so much mass for his height, he was labeled as being obese and was put on a medically restricted diet of like 900 calories. And the guy was already almost dead. He got himself weighed in a hydrostatic fat calculation, and the poor guy was so starving, but the Army did not care. They made him starve, and I had to watch this go on. I've seen many, many similar things. So what I'm sharing with you here is that these calorie counters are using large groups of statistics based on what I would call the average individual. Well, the average individual in our culture and worldwide is A, sick, B, unfit, and C, not fit for using on studies unless you're studying sick people. So the information that you're getting in there is largely based on what I would consider not a good study population to begin with. So we can't really rely on these. There's too many fudge factors in there when it comes to a human being with the intricacy and complexity of a human body. So again, no nutritional correlation. And they often lead to starvation diets with rebound weight gain. Many, many people come to me with these kinds of problems, counting calories and weighing themselves all the time, and they follow these restriction diets and they get themselves in tremendous trouble. They get all happy because they're losing weight, but then guess what? When we test them, we find out they're losing muscle mass. They're not actually losing fat. They're starving themselves so their cortisol levels go through the roof to catabolize protein in the body and help feed neurotransmitters to the brain and elevate blood sugar. And so they lose weight, but they don't realize they're burning up muscle, the only thing that utilizes calories the most effectively and most efficiently is muscle. That's your furnace. So if you're killing your furnace while you're trying to lose weight, you're not losing intelligent weight. You're losing weight that produces a sick person who's more likely to have health problems in the future. The answer to all this is very simple. Get my book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy. It's $24.95 on Amazon or through the C.H.E.K Institute. Follow it. Throw the scales out the window. Don't look at the scale. Go by how you feel. Stop counting calories. Go by how you feel. Eat high-quality food. Get enough exercise a day to feel good but not torture yourself and accomplish your goals. Eat high-quality food. Adjust your food for your own metabolic individuality as I show in here. Get high-quality sleep. Have a dream and live to fulfill the dream, and you'll find all the calorie counting and all that constantly weighing yourself goes out the window. You wake up a year later and you're a completely different person and you go, oh my God, all the time, energy, and money I wasted going after all these fads. And it might interest you to know that the guy that popularized the whole calorie counting concept was fat. So how's that for interesting? And he promoted thrifty dieting, thrifty eating, and telling people they were wasting food, but he was a fat guy. Okay? Once again, here we are back to the experts. So I hope you enjoyed our little thing about calorie counters today. Throw the damn thing out. Learn to eat, move, and be healthy. Done deal. See you next time.